Shalom.
Shalom.
We just wanted to make a kind of an update video, and I guess more of like a look into our lives, kind of in this season of our life, kind of a video. We've been going through some trying times.
Very, very hard.
Yeah. I was reading in Daniel 7 the other day, when it talks about the enemy wearing out the saints, and I was like very, very equipped to be able to relate with that.
I think most people are right now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us can feel that we're in that end season and we're just really tired and struggling and suffering.
Yeah. There was also a scary thought though, like if that's not the time we're in now,
Like if it's
that's
gonna
gonna
get
be
even
harder.
worse.
Yeah. So what do we want to open up with talking about? Maybe just kind of
Recap.
yeah,
Maybe.
like a recap. So we how long has it been?
Maybe around April.
Yeah. So 10 months ago.
Wow.
Yeah. 10 months ago, we found out that our bus that we had been living in full time, we found out that it had mold in it, and we knew that it had some rust problems, but it was one of those things where you just don't want to know how bad it is. And
Yeah, we didn't really go looking around too much. We knew, and we didn't. Like if we would have thought it was worse than it was, then we would have. But we didn't think it was nearly as bad.
Yeah. But so we found the mold, and then while you're pulling the rug back, we pulled it all the way back, and we found that the rust was really bad. Like the frame was actually not really in a good spot.
Non-existent.
Yeah.
And it's only gotten worse over being up here in Wisconsin for the winter with the salt.
Shockingly worse.
Really bad.
But we found out that our bus was not suitable to be lived in and to be full-time driving every single day. We've been driving it like maybe once a week to go for our grocery runs, and there's some weird noises and some weird creakings and clunkings and not good stuff. And
we've said many times that it seems like Yahuwah brought us out of that bus just in time.
Yeah.
Like everything's been in His perfect timing, but at the same time it's been really, really, really hard and testing our faith and just the hardest season of our lives, for sure.
Yeah.
We keep saying that. We don't think it can get any harder, and then it gets harder.
And obviously it could get way harder, like if one of our children died or something, but it's like the way that we've been living, we can't reasonably look around unless something crazy tragic like that happens, or if one of us dies. Well, it's like it doesn't seem like it could really get any harder than it is right now.
We've really been struggling in a lot of ways, and we raise our children completely on our own, and we don't have any family in our lives, like no relatives. And right now we're up in northern Wisconsin, and it's 40 minutes to like any town. So we're completely secluded, completely alone, and we've just been going through this whole weird season of staying in someone else's house. This widow opened her home up to us, and again in perfect timing because she needed a lot of help, and she's down in Florida taking care of her elderly mother. So, we see how it's worked out perfectly with Yahuwah's timing and will, but it's so hard.
Hasn't been without struggle.
We are exhausted, and ultimately that's why we're making this video, to just, say that we need prayer, and we need help, and, we're stretched thin and crying pretty much every day, and right now I'm 41 weeks, so today I hit 41 weeks pregnant, and we could have our baby anytime, and we've got 3 toddlers, one with severe symptoms of autism, and we think that we know how to heal him, and we've really been trying, and he's detoxing right now, and we're going through the motions, but that, having him, he's almost 5, it's like having 10 children. For anyone that has, special needs children, you'll understand what we mean by that. And if you don't, then I don't expect you to understand. And I was going to see if I could put a clip in from just like the noises that he makes all day, where it's just constant stimulation. Like he's always making noise, and it's loud and ear-piercing and exhausting. And every part of our life has just been stretching us thin,
Yeah.
absolutely exhausting us to the point where we just feel, we're constantly crying out like, help us, help us, help us.
And then when we got here, we looked around and we saw, we were here last fall helping our friend Eve, and
When we were living in the bus.
yeah, well so that would have been 2 falls ago then, not last fall.
Oh yeah, 2 falls.
So 2 falls ago when we were here
We
helping her.
can't keep our days together,
Yeah.
let alone our years.
Yeah.
So
So we were helping her do some other repairs on her house, and we got here and we saw that it's an old log cabin and it really needed to be re-sided, and there were some other widows that were about an hour south of us. They needed a lot of projects on their house, and there was a widow just down the hill here. What do you say, probably half a mile? If you were to walk straight through the woods, half a mile, probably 3/4 of a mile if you take the dirt road. But she needed a good couple of things done in her house, and so we just kind of jumped into that full time because we saw that all of these widows needed a lot of help, and it was all to do with like their homes, which I'm very, very knowledgeable in and can easily do that stuff. So
he was in construction for 10 years,
yeah,
building $1 million houses, so he can do pretty much anything.
yeah. So I just did a lot of like the repairs that they needed on their house, and almost all of them were, all of them were weather sensitive, so they needed to be done really like before another winter kind of got to it. So we jumped into that full time because we knew, and all of these people couldn't find anybody or couldn't afford to have it done, and if they couldn't find anybody, it's just because it was just maybe smaller jobs or different jobs of where
You can see more of that in our last video that we posted.
Yeah.
Repairing the widow's porch. Surprisingly, we'll talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so that was the last project that we did, and now I think we got done.
Just finished it.
Yeah.
Like last
week.
Last week.
Yeah.
Me being 40 weeks pregnant, so we've been like constant working since we've been here.
And our focus hasn't been really on ourselves, but we felt like that's what we were led to do. We got here and we wanted to shift our ministry efforts towards mainly talking to homeless people and doing like homeless outreach and supplying them with Bibles and food and prayer and clothing and stuff like that. And we wanted to shift it more towards helping people like the people we just talked about who either couldn't afford the help or can't find somebody to come and do it. And so it just seemed like you have provided lots of instances to where it was like, he said, well, that's what's in your heart, let's see if you do it. And
after you lose your own home.
Yeah. So we kind of moved everything into here, which is very stressful because it's a home that was set up for 2 older retired people, so it wasn't like baby proofed. And they've got some nicer things, like just things that are more fragile, like wooden tables and just stuff that you don't want your babies just ripping around on all the time. And so we had to kind of move some things, put some things up, and then move our stuff in. But she didn't like move out. She just took a suitcase and went down to help her mom. And so everything of hers is still here. And so we kind of
20 years of a couple's belongings and raising children in this house. Like they raised their own children until they moved out here. And then, so it's like we can't even use the cupboards here.
Yeah.
We're literally moved in next to and on top of everything else. And I don't think, unless you go through that, I don't think you can understand the stress of that and how exhausting it is.
I think the best way people could probably relate to it is if like you moved from one house to another and you're kind of living out of boxes until you find a spot for things. But that's how we've been living for the last like
gotten to that
8
next
months
spot.
And we've just been living out of boxes and trying to find stuff and
putting shelves in front of shelves.
And it always feels like it's not organized and not cleaned, and it always feels cluttered.
Because half of it, 90% of it isn't ours.
Yeah.
And it's just really hard, especially in like this nesting phase that I'm in. I want, as a mother, I want to make everything perfect for a new baby being here. And it's really hard. It's really, really hard. We're super thankful for this place, and it's a beautiful home, but And it's also not what we desire for our lives at all. We don't want a big house. We don't want tons of rooms to clean and have to keep up with like just this modern way of living, like the electricity that it uses and the heat, and it's exhausting. Like living in a bus was so freeing, and we miss it every single day. Every
just
time.
Getting set up for Shabbat here is a whole deal in and of itself.
Yeah, and our Shabbats are really not restful anymore because we have to work so much just to keep it upkept, and it's just really difficult. Like we've been struggling really bad, and just not having a place of your own, you know, and we don't know how long we're going to be able to be here, and that's the main thing why we need help getting out of this situation, because we're not welcome here forever, and it's not a permanent solution. We've already been here for coming up on a year, which sounds insane to even say, you know. And
it was like end of April that we got here.
10 months, 2 more months, and it'll be a year that we've been here, and you know, we've definitely, she needed us here, and she needed all the work that we did, but that was our, and like as soon as we lost our home, we came and we moved in and we got all of our stuff in, and we've been working since, and really not for ourselves in any way. We've just been pouring into her and other people's needs, because, you know, we knew that we could go and try to just focus on money and do all that, but that's not what the Father was calling us to do. He was calling us to pour into these widows' homes that needed it, and keep focusing on Him. And in a lot of ways we couldn't have even gone, like, with Him driving that far, and, you know, my health has not been the greatest with this pregnancy, with my digestive system and everything, and especially towards the end here, I am getting exhausted, and he works all day, every day. He doesn't sit down for 15 minutes during the day. He's doing so much to just, you know, not only for just keeping our children and us alive and helping me with the cleaning and cooking and really taking care of everything, but also working just to upkeep this house. You know, it takes so much to upkeep a big house like this.
Especially when you got 3 little children running around.
Yeah, if it was just Alex and I, we really wouldn't be suffering that much. But anyone with like a big family where you're doing it all alone and you don't get a break, and they don't go to daycare, and they got special needs, and your 5-year-old is literally like a 1-year-old, and it's just it's been so hard, and we feel like we're barely surviving. Like we've just been in survival mode. We barely have time for each other, you know. We barely have time to shower. We haven't showered in like 2 weeks because we're just so constantly going and constantly just surviving and getting through each day. Like half the time we're talking at night after the babies go to sleep, and we're like, oh, when did this happen? And we're like, oh, like 4 days ago, and it was yesterday.
Or that morning.
And we thought it was 4 days ago. Like our days are just blurring together here. And it's hard because Yahuwah's called us to work for these widows without pay. So we're not having, you know, we're not saving anything for ourselves, and we don't have anything coming in. And, you know, that's why there's provisions in the Torah for people that have sold everything and chose to full-time work for Him. From other believers helping and coming alongside families like ours. And that's where we're at. You know, we need people's help. We need, I hate to say it, but more than anything, we need financial support and financial help so that we can save up. We just need, the main things are just metal and insulation and windows for the bus, just to have a firm foundation, because we already have the bus. Yahuwah has already provided it for us, a new one, and we'll be keeping our old one. But we just need help, and just simple things like during this season, like groceries, and, you know, oh, I forgot to grab all of our medicine. But I've been, we've been making natural medicine and everything, and just trying to do His will.
Not work like for ourselves, but try and make everything that we put our hands to be fruitful. Not only just like for, like, if I was to go back, in which I could go back in construction and just build houses, but then most of the time it's for somebody, because of the houses I built. I didn't build like houses for homeless people to get off the streets so that somebody who doesn't have a shelter can have a shelter. It was always like somebody who's planning their dream home and they already have, like we could put a picture of that, but I ripped a kitchen out of a house one time that was like a $200,000 kitchen because they were upgrading to like a $400,000 kitchen. And so there's perfectly good cabinets, perfectly good tile and everything, just tore it out just to redo that. And it's like that's not profitable for Yahuwah's kingdom in any way, and we don't want to put our hands to something like that. That's just vanity. So we want to be
for something that is just with how short time is, and we see so many widows neglected. You know, we see so many people with, especially even Torah observant people, believers with extremely wealthy houses, and then right next door they have a widow crying out for help. You know, and Yahuwah hears that, and
or someone who doesn't even have a house.
Yeah, someone that doesn't have a house or anything, and we can't do that. Even if we're suffering, we're gonna trust Yahuwah to provide, and we know that He will. And that's another reason we just feel led to make this, because we know that no one owes us anything. No one owes us any help. None of you owe us anything, but we're just putting our needs out there in the same way that all these widows are, and we have widows lined up for down the road when we are in our bus that we want to go visit and help, because they've needed help for a long time. But that's never going to happen if we don't receive help. So we're just trusting the Father and knowing that He says, seek first the kingdom and its righteousness, and all else will be added unto you. He says the harvest is ripe, but the laborers are few. What does that mean? You know, like there's not enough laborers doing His will and His work. Tons of people have normal jobs. They go to their 9 to 5s and they live their life. And He still says the laborers are few. Why? Because the real matters aren't being taken care of, and there's widows crying out for help constantly, homeless crying out for help, families like ours crying out for help. And you know, it's so hard having to do it on our own, because we look back in the scriptures and they had real community. And you know, we've kind of given up on that idea of having community in this life, because we've seen so many people, even that claim like they're Torah observant, their hearts are just wax cold and they have no compassion. And you can even say, like, that's another reason we feel led to make like an actual video, is because I post on Facebook and people just scroll past it like it's nothing. Like, how do you really love your brother or sister and then see them suffering in the ways that we have been, and just scroll past? And it's not, you're not even affected. Social media has really desensitized us, and it's really hard, because every relationship that we have with people, we try to lay down our lives for them truly and actually care about them. And you know, if they're going through a hard time, like, let's get together, let's pray together. What can we do to help you? Like, actually figure it out and not just brush it under the rug.
Well, like if somebody calls, like, or messages, like they need help, you know, like with something, we take it really seriously. Because like if somebody reaches out, I know at least for us, like we don't reach out to anybody or do anything like an ask for help unless it's like we've pondered it for like we're very big problem solvers, and if we ever reach out needing help, it's because we've thought about it in a million different ways, and we
trying to make it work in every way and try to be self-sufficient as possible. And you know, I think that's how everyone should be, you know, not just rely on other people all the time and be independent and try to figure it out. But there are situations where you just can't do it alone, and we're definitely in one of those situations. And we've been trying for the last 10 months to do it on our own, and we can't get any traction. And we're trying so hard, and every time we like sell some of the natural medicine that we're making or something, it's like we get enough to get our food, and then we buy food, and then it takes us back down. And it's like we can't get anywhere. And like the way that it's gonna work is we're gonna have our baby, and hopefully soon, because I'm tired. But then I'm gonna have a season of healing, and we'll have a little bit of togetherness and try to take it easy as much as we can. And then once I'm healed, it's gonna be pretty much time to start working on the new bus with the weather, because we have a very limited season here that we can get stuff done. But we're not even to a financial point where we can even do that. And we're not promised Like if we were to get kicked out of here, we have nowhere. And we'll have 4 children, and there's no other option for us.
Well, that's what we kind of really realized, like, being here, was that when we got here, we didn't really have any kind of a plan. We were still, like, kind of extremely confused and didn't know what we were going to try and pursue next, whether it would be, like, a shed house conversion or something like that.
Yeah, just try to build our own shack or something.
Yeah. But then we don't have any land. And
Yeah.
even if you did have land, you can't just go and build a shack on it. You have to have permits and everything. But being here has really shown us that we definitely want to be mobile and to be able to continue to do the things that we're doing and have been doing this whole summer.
I've been called to do, and not just anything that we want, or focusing on
not just
how
like traveling to the next waterfall.
How we want to live our lives, but actually being fruitful with every moment. While just having our basic needs met. Like when we were on the road for the last 2 years, all we needed was food, fuel, diapers, phone bill. That's it.
That was so basic we didn't even have a shower.
This time hopefully we'll have a shower.
I still won't be able to use it whenever, just willy-nilly, but because water doesn't just appear. It also doesn't disappear. But we
live simply.
We just want to really live simply. But then the other thing I was going to say, when you were talking about just Yahuwah providing, we definitely trust that Yahuwah will provide in some way. And we're not making this video because we don't think he will. We're just making this video saying, these are our needs, and if anybody feels glad to help us, we really appreciate it. And it's not just going towards, like I said, you're not just putting fuel in our tank to go to the next waterfall or the next hot spring where we'll just hang out for a while. We're doing a massive amount of good with it, and literally everything that we do is just for Yahuwah's kingdom.
So we're asking for help, not even really for ourselves, it's for Yahuwah, because we're just trying to live the calling that he's given us. It's all we care about, and I hope that's evident with how we've been living our lives. And what I can share on Facebook, I'm so exhausted and tired, but I do my best to let people see our raw and vulnerable lives, and encourage other people through what they're going through, and share as much as I can. But you can only see so much into someone's life through social media.
What I wanted to say too on that, like, trusting Yahuwah thing, that was the number one thing. That was my favorite thing to tell people when we would be like fueling up, or when we'd be just pulling up somewhere in the bus, and somebody would almost always ask, like, oh wow, that you live in there? And then there's like a standard conversation, and then the number one question we got asked is, how do you afford to do that? And my favorite thing to tell people, I had a couple verses I would give them that were funny ones, but for the most part I would always just say that Yahusha says to seek first the kingdom and all of its righteousness, like Lily said, and everything else will be provided to you. And I just tell people that, like, that's what it says, and we've done that. We've tested that. We read that scripture, and we say, if it's true, just like Hasatan tempted Yahusha when he said, like, throw yourself down. It's written that he'll catch you, and you're not supposed to tempt him, but he said to seek first his kingdom, and we said, okay, that's what we want to do. We don't have a clear plan of how we'll fund that, but we're just going to go ahead and do it. And we know that just like, and I think it's Matthew 6, it's either 5 or 6, where Yahusha's talking about the birds. They don't sow and they don't reap, but Yahuwah provides everything they need every single day. And that's what we did. And I tell people that, and they were just so confused, like, because so many people have that false sense of their own provisions to where they're trusting on them. So I have a 9-to-5 job. I know when I'm going to get paid. But the reality is that that's only as secure as the person that pays you. If the company tanks tomorrow, or if they decide to fire you, or if anything happens, your security is not secure. So it seems like it is, but the real security is found in trusting Yahuwah, and that's why we're just going to continue to do what he's called us to do, and we know that he'll provide in his timing. And we're just making this video just to, kind of give you a window into, sometimes that doesn't look like the most fun things, and it's trying, and it's tiring, and it's very, very, very difficult.
It's definitely tested our faith and made us, like people say, put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
And not chase after money in any way. And it's been really hard because everything in this world revolves around money.
Yeah.
Everything.
Or like if we could have just lived in the bus and then not sojourned. That was like our plan when we started building the bus, was just to live cheaply and simply, and we wouldn't have like all the normal bills that come along with the house, and then we could continue working and we could have amassed just a large amount of money and then went from waterfall to waterfall, and lived for ourselves. But that wasn't our desire, and still isn't. And so just the way that we do everything is we just want to be righteous and be servants
and be together as a family.
Yeah.
And just raising our children in righteousness and not sending them off to some strangers to be taken care of, and just raising them in his ways. And we've seen how important it is to have you around. And like before we moved into the bus, we barely ever saw Alex, and I raised our children basically on my own.
Yeah.
And it was very horrible.
It's crazy
very
because
hard.
even though we're together all day, I still feel that way.
Yeah.
Like I barely get to see you guys, even though like I'm doing stuff all day long.
That's the hard thing, because we're not just sitting here relaxing. We're not just sitting, and that's a silly thing that some people have said, like maybe Yehovah took your bus away so that you could stop working so much and take a season of rest.
But no part about moving into somebody else's house and redoing all the things that we've done on all these different widows' houses, and then we've got a big bus build ahead of us, Yehovah willing.
Very few people realize how much goes into that too.
Yeah, especially apparently if you want to be able to live in it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, make it actually sustainable and not just throw it together like we did the first time.
That's another thing we've been doing, is we've been, while we're working 24/7 pretty much, apart from when we sleep, while we've been working and doing so many different things, is we've also been learning. And I've been doing a lot of learning on the right way to build a bus, and just learning so many things.
It takes a lot of research.
Well, because there's a lot of ways you could do it, and there's also a lot of ways that it can go wrong. And
it's also very hard to live in a metal box and not have condensation ruin your home with mold. But there is a way to do it, and we've definitely learned that way through a ton of research and trial and error and talking to other people and stuff. But sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that's pretty much all I was gonna say. Just massive amounts of research in this.
And then the last, it's pretty much, the last month really hard, but since we've gotten here, Yahuwah has just laid it on our heart, like, take the season to learn how to heal your bodies. Take the season to learn how to heal your son, so that when you do go back out, you're on a better foundation. And we've
we didn't even know about the way that we're going to Yehovah willing heal Gabriel until months after we got here.
Yeah, hundreds of hours of research. And there's some things that we really can't say, just for like censor reasons and different things, and we're going to wait until he's healed to talk about. But we definitely feel like Yehu's made the way, and then in the last 2 months, really the last month, Yehu has just been teaching me about herbs, like his creation, more than anything, like how to heal cancer, like multiple sclerosis, like sciatica, different things for autism, arthritis, pain relief, literally like knitting your bones back together with salves, and frankincense. Like we healed Gabriel's eczema with just 1 drop of frankincense every single time we changed his diaper, and his eczema patches are gone.
No, I would say realistically that took about 3 days.
Yeah, 3
with
days.
The frankincense oil.
And then that extra 4 days was just.
He had some, like, if you know about eczema, you can get kind of like little puny dots that pop up around it, especially when you're trying to heal it. And so it didn't happen until after the first day of the frankincense. They had a couple little red dots around the area of his knee, like just surrounding it, and then that they scabbed up within the same day. They kind of popped up and got scabs, and then it took the rest of those 4 days just for the scabs to disappear, but
Yeah.
it's completely gone. And months up to that, we were putting on like tea tree balm, coconut oil,
Yeah, it just kept getting
different
worse.
things. Yeah, and it wouldn't touch him.
And that's how it was when he was a baby. Like we would even get like Pod Arco ointment. Like he would always have rashes on the left side of his baby, or when he was a baby on the left side of his body. Yeah, I'm surprised I can even talk at all because I'm so tired. But we tried so many things back then. So to see.
What do you think back then? Because that was before he was like a year old, right?
Yeah, well, I still think it was Candida.
Well, I mean, what do you think? Because he had it on his face, on the inside of his elbow, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or was it outside?
Knee.
And the inside of his knee, and then down at the bottom by his ankle.
Yeah.
And that was the main spots that he had it.
But on his left side.
Yeah, they were pretty. They got to be pretty big.
Really
and then he was little enough. Yeah, and it would itch, and then so we woke up one night to change it. I think I just woke up to change him because he just moved around, and I was like, oh, I'll change him, and I turned the light on, and he had just been sitting there just itching it, and it was just a little bit of blood, but he had moved it around, and I'm like super tired, super duper tired. It's if you have if you ever had your first baby, you know how tiring that is. Go from living for yourself and only worrying about, and like back then, like don't even really worry, you know, you haven't been married that long, don't even worry about what Lily's doing in the middle of the night. I'm just sleeping for myself if she wakes up, so have fun with that, you know. But it's like you're so selfless or selfish when you don't have children, and
children change that real quick.
Become the exact opposite, only selfless. But so I was super tired, woke up, turned the light on, and he just and I was super tired. There's blood all over. I was like, oh, and Lily's like, oh, what's going on? Nothing. and I'm pretty sure I took pictures and cleaned him up, and then he was fine, and we went back to sleep. And I told you about it the next day, but I was wondering
I'm pretty sure I woke up with him.
Yeah. Well, what do you think it was that kind of healed it? Was it that CBD lotion? I think that's the only thing we found that really even made a dent. But we tried like 30 different things
and for a long time. I think it was mostly just time and prayer.
Yeah.
Because we tried so many things,
and nothing just made a difference at all.
Yeah.
I think maybe that CBD cream made a difference, but
yeah, it might have helped.
But nothing like just Yahuwah's creation. Just frankincense, put into olive oil, and just let it absorb, like, what is it called? Infuse into the olive oil. And it was that we did it for 7 days it infused. I think it was something like that. 5 days.
5 days of warming it all day long, every day stirring it in.
Yeah, and then you just strain it, and that's what we've got on the website. It's just infused frankincense oil, so it's just organic olive oil and complete organic frankincense.
And it's some of the best frankincense resin that you can get in the world.
Yeah. It's from like the #1 spot that is sought after for frankincense.
Dhofar Mountains in Oman.
Mm-hmm. And so so we've been with him. He's had it before where it was months that nothing would touch it, and we tried like shea butter, everything,
coconut oil.
Mm-hmm. Somebody made us a plantain. Remember, somebody made us a little plantain salve. That didn't do nothing.
We tried everything back then. So then once we saw it, and it went away for all those years.
Yeah.
And then it just recently resurfaced, and
but
we're like, no, it's in the same spot, same thing. Like, what is going on? And obviously the skin is your biggest organ, trying to detox stuff out. So we know that that's what was happening.
But we did do some detoxing with them before, and then because of some of the projects we were doing for the widows around here, if I'm gone for the bigger part of the day, with the detoxing that we're doing for him, we have to do an entirely separate diet. And so that means that you have to make 2 sets of meals.
A very hard diet, like no sugar,
cut out anything fun.
No dairy, no carbs,
no citrus,
no processed, no citrus stuff. So it's like a very, very limited diet, and it's very hard, especially for him who is already is very picky. And if you have a child with like sensory issues, you know the struggle. But that's like.
But we did that detoxing for a bit, and then we had to pause it for a couple months because we were just so busy with other
We
projects.
couldn't keep up with it. We tried so hard.
And with
Excuse
the
me.
strict diet, he was also getting to the point where he was throwing, a big fit about trying to stay on that diet because it's so limited that he was just getting so burned out. And so we paused it for a little while, but now we've been back on it for
Mostly
a while.
for Sukkot, because we just needed a break for the feast to not have to have all that extra stress. But he's doing good now that he's on it now, and we do see improvement.
Yeah, we noticed a lot of improvements the first time we started detoxing him, and then once we
bad again.
we just were originally gonna take Sukkot off for him, and then just so that we could feast for a weekend, because a big part of our diet is fresh milk stuff, and we do a ton of that, especially when you're just hanging out and keeping Sukkot. And so we're like, we don't want to just not do any fresh milk, anything, or any good, campfire meals and stuff like that. And so we just paused it, but then we jumped into projects after Sukkot, but now with that, so he was doing better.
Trying to finish use outside of the house.
Yeah. He was doing better, and then once we paused it, it took a while, but then he started to get worse again with just his daily behavior. He got a lot more irritable, but now he's on the uprise again.
Himself a lot.
Yeah.
No. Gabriel, it's okay, buddy. No. No. Like literally punching himself in the face, and so many times I would just feel so helpless while he's just hitting himself, and there's only so much that you can do unless I would just hold his hand still all day. And thankfully he's not hitting himself very much now.
And that's how it was before too, is we noticed when we were detoxing that it's just completely gone.
Yeah.
And now, like the last couple of weeks, he hasn't really done that at all.
Yeah.
Except unless it seems like it's just sometimes just out of nowhere he'll do that, or if he gets extremely overwhelmed, like if the ladies get to playing and they get really loud all of a sudden, start giggling like crazy, and he's overwhelmed, he's just like and he doesn't know what's going on.
It's mostly like sensory related. He's very sensitive to sound and different things, different fabrics, and he found this pillow that Eve had here. It's got little micro beads in it, and it is his favorite thing in the world. We were going for a ride into town the other day, and Alex was...
He's kind of bummed out for whatever reason. I don't remember.
He was having a harder morning, and Alex was getting him... I was in the bus with the girls already, and Alex was grabbing him and bringing him out. And all of a sudden, I saw Gabriel's face just light up.
He was as happy as could be.
And it almost like... The way that I saw Gabriel's face light up, I haven't seen that in so long. It was almost like a glimpse of what it would be like if he was like healed and normal, and just like a normal 5-year-old boy, and just seeing him so happy. And
that's how Isabel and Eliana are like that all the time.
And it was just because you gave him that pillow.
He was carrying it behind him, so she couldn't see anything. And she's like, "Whatever you did, he is just having a great time." And it just got lost underneath something for a couple of days, and so he hadn't seen it, and he just was super happy. It was awesome. But that's, I think, where like our main need is. We just need prayer for Gabriel, because if anything could happen, it would just be if he could be healed. It'd be.
We don't ever hear him talk. He doesn't ever say a single word. He's almost 5 years old, and he's completely nonverbal. We've only heard him say, "Mama, Daddy," when he was like 1 year old, and then he regressed, and
He said hi.
he
Remember
did.
that? It was
Hi
like
was his first
4
word,
months
and he was
old.
like 3 months old.
Yeah.
It was insane, and then he just regressed, and now we're learning it's mostly like gut health related, and just his immune system and everything. But our son has just been completely stolen from us.
And it's difficult with everything that we're going through already, and then to see how much he suffers every single day. And he definitely has. I mean, he's been a lot worse than he is now, just for his normal suffering. With even just from like a year ago, he's improved massively in his daily life, but he still has zero communication. And we've tried teaching him sign language. We've tried. It's like
everything.
Yeah, it's like he's just so in his own world that he won't even give you a second to focus. And if he does, it's like that's maybe once a week.
I barely even get to hug him and actually have him hug me back because he's just in his own world.
Yeah. But I mean, for the most part, he's happy. I would say probably like half the time he's happy, but it's just like it doesn't even make sense. he's just walking around being silly,
And
you know.
Just laughs like a crazy man out of nowhere, and it's nice to see him laugh and be happy, but it's like literally nothing's happening. Why are you laughing?
Yeah. Or he'll go from just being, especially now that we're detoxing him again, he'll go from being like he sees something that the girls are having, and then he was like, I want that, and then by the time a couple minutes goes by, he breaks his focus. He goes from being angry to just being as happy as can be out of nowhere. But yeah, it's been hard on us because with everything being as stressful as it is, just with our living situation and just not having like our own plans, because when we got here, our plan was to just start building a new bus, but that wasn't Yahuwah's plan for us. And that's every single time we pray, we just pray that His will would be done, and we don't put other people's needs, behind us. We saw a lot of people that had needs, and so
we're always weighing it. We're always like, obviously we do it with wisdom and say, who needs help more. But if we see someone that needs help more, like especially with the weather sensitive stuff, then we're obviously going to help them. Yahuwah will provide for us in His timing, and we have our needs met. We have a roof over our head. We're warm. We have food. But another reason we need financial help too is because if us trying to eat like organic, healthy food is expensive, and we don't.
Thankfully, though.
Yeah.
Coming around to the growing season.
Well, yeah.
Even though it's really limited
and
here.
Yahuwah has provided raw milk for us from the Mennonites here, and it's A2, and if you don't know about that, it's like the healthiest thing you could ever drink. And A2 is better than A1.
But then
the eggs, we get 2 dozen for only $2. 2.5 dozen for only $2, and they're raised organically, and all the meat's raised organically, and that's blessed us tremendously because Gabriel needs that so badly, and most of his diet right now is eggs because you can only do so much that's anti-inflammatory, and we found out that if we make fermented salsa, then he'll eat the eggs even better, and we gotta post that recipe on here for all you guys. It's so easy. We do it in just overnight, and then some of our other ferments are just
7 days usually.
7 days usually, like pickles, radishes, carrots, and we have so many things that we want to post on here and do, but we're just barely surviving each day. We like we said, we barely even have time to make food to heal our son, and having it's hard enough cooking meals from scratch as much as we can normally, and then have to make 2 meals every time that we make it for Gabriel, and half the time he doesn't want to eat it, or it's like our days are hard, and I'm so pregnant.
Yeah.
I can't do much at this stage, and especially for the calling that Yahuwah has given me for natural medicine. I spend so much of my time on that. I don't have the energy for that. I don't have the strength half the time, but He gives me the strength to do His will. And it's been like a veil has been lifted back. I told Alex the other day, I was like, I don't really scroll on Facebook very much, I try to completely stay off of it mostly, and because our life is so busy, I don't have time for that one. So if I am spending time on it, I'm neglecting something else. So, but I scrolled on there the other day for like a minute, and I saw like back-to-back posts like, pray for me, I'm sick in this way, or I'm going to the hospital, I'm sick in this way, or what do I do, I'm sick in this way. It's like Yahuwah just lifted back this veil of how many of his children are just suffering and sick, and they have no knowledge about how to use his herbs. And up until 2 months ago, I had no idea how to use any herbs. And if you
like, I mean, we knew that, like, oh, they're good, you know, but it's like
how good,
yeah,
how powerful, and that they can wipe diseases out in like a week, like that you've suffered for 30 years, you don't have to. And
and like all the stuff that Lily's finding, she tells me, like, can do this in this amount of time, and it's crazy, like
the frankincense oil, we tried for
like,
months with our child.
Like stuff that people like die from. Like if you have like crazy cancer, it's like, oh, just make this with these leaves and put it on, like make a poultice with the leaves and just put it on,
and it'll draw
in a week, and you'll be fine.
And there's so many testimonies of people actually doing that, and they go to the doctors, and the doctors are like, what did you do? Like, this is impossible, this isn't how. And I was listening to another teaching by Barbara O'Neill. I don't agree with everything that she says, but recently I've been finding some good stuff. Someone actually had cut off the tip of their finger, their child, and they went to the hospital, and the parents didn't do any vaccinations or anything, so they went to the hospital, and they're like, well, you're gonna have to go to this other hospital right now, you're gonna have to get her up to date on all of her vaccines and all this other stuff. And they're like, that don't sound right, I'm gonna call Barbara. So they called Barbara, they had her phone number. They're like, what do we do? She cut the tip of her finger off, it's not good, like we have it in a bag. She's like, go to the natural food store, get an aloe vera, cut the end of the aloe vera off, put it over that spot, and then grab.
Do you mean like, because you told me this, but you mean like put it over the finger like a glove?
Yeah, and then also grab another, or like those rubber gloves, cut the thing off, put it over as like a secure bandage, keep that on there. And then Barbara ran out to her garden, grabbed a bunch of comfrey leaves, and then express mailed it over to them as fast as possible. And she's like, put those leaves over it, like first make a poultice, do that, put it over it. And it was like no time, like I think she said, I could be wrong, like a week or something, like no time. And she had her fingerprint back on the tip of her finger, and it was completely cut off. And she's like, and keep that fingertip in your freezer because no one's going to believe you. And it's just crazy because, like, I think it was named, like, can you grow the tip of your finger back after cutting it off? And anyways, like, who has just been showing me, like, our bodies are designed to heal. Like, every 7 years, I think they say almost every cell in your body renews itself, which is cool. I thought about that. It's almost like a Sabbath, like a restart.
Interesting.
Yeah, but the things that he's been teaching me, and I just can't deny that calling. And like,
well, we've seen so much, even just using the heal all salve with the comfrey in it, just in our own like daily uses.
Yeah, you burned yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How's it?
I don't know.
We didn't even put any more on. We should have.
I've been doing it throughout the day. Yeah. It's good.
He burned himself, and you could see like where it was, and then it was like an indent where the burn was because the layers of skin were just gone. He grabbed onto the cast iron.
I was seasoning it, and I thought I had a towel over the spot, and I grabbed the handle, and I did not have a towel over that spot.
Yeah. But he put the comfrey on. It took the pain away.
That was yesterday. I completely forgot that.
It was yesterday.
That was yesterday. I
thought that was like 4 days ago.
No, I completely forgot about it. I just been putting stuff on today, but it hasn't been a pain. But I was more thinking about like Eliana. She just scratched her nose somehow, just
her fingernail, I think.
And she caught her nose,
big chunk.
And it was just like the top layer of skin, so it didn't bleed a lot, but it was like red, and it had a scab. But right away, I was like, oh, we should. And it was like the day that we had after we made the salve. And I was like, oh, we should throw some on the nose. And so we did that, and then it was fun. You know, they're like, oh, put it on the nose and we did like 3 times that day, and 3 times the next day, and then the next morning, I looked at her nose, and I was like, something's weird with her nose, and the scab had fallen off. It was like 90% of the way off, and so I just grabbed it, pulled it off, and her skin was like a nice
Healed.
red, like just barely pink red, and it was healed. With the scab fell off in 2 days, like
And
48 hours later.
Also with your dry feet,
Yeah.
he has really bad, like his feet do not want to ever stay moisturized no matter what we do, and also holds on to like dead skin a lot, and that's just been a real problem trying to actually keep him not from cracking, like deep bleeding cracks. Like it's really deep cracks, and it's already been helping a ton with that.
Yeah, a lot.
We want to have some before and after pictures soon. I've been trying to apply it to his feet every night, and it's hard to remember. Like it's always like right when we're ready to go to sleep, and it's like, oh, we gotta do your feet.
And I haven't looked at my feet for like about 3 days.
Yeah.
You keep asking me every morning, how are you feeling? I don't know.
They
I've
seem
been
like
using
they're
them.
getting a lot better, except for just the deep crack spots. Those are gonna take a couple more days. But I was gonna say, like, I can't deny that calling, especially seeing like the power of how he's working, and it's hard because I think a lot of people see the quality of our products, and I think it could seem like we have a lot of money that we're putting into it, which, I mean, the herbs cost money, but we're really only taking back what we get and putting it back into just whatever he's calling us to make to help people. But like our labels, like they're super high quality, and people have asked me if we've had like them professionally made, and that no, that's just my love. Like I'm literally putting my heart into the things that we're making. Like
Lily's a massive perfectionist.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, well, she doesn't do anything unless it's done extremely well.
I try. I put my heart into it, and especially with people paying for our things, I want them to be. I want people to get them, and I want it to actually help people. I could just throw some junk comfrey in a thing and stir it together and pour it in some tins and be like, here you go, comfrey sap. No, I do the utmost research, making sure that
just step one.
Yeah.
You need comfrey. Look at every comfrey supplier and find the best one.
Yeah.
And then you need olive oil. Look at every kind of olive oil and find the best one.
Well, it's needed, you know.
Yeah,
if
well,
you
that's
want to
the
have
thing.
it be high quality, you got to do that.
Yeah, because I mean, had you not done that, if you just get the cheapest olive oil at Walmart and frankincense from who knows where, it probably wouldn't heal.
There's a lot of cheap frankincense out
Yeah,
there.
it probably wouldn't have that healing power like it did for Gabriel
It's
within
not
a couple
hundreds
days.
of dollars. Yeah, so I wanted to actually heal people and be what Yahuwah wants it to be. There's a verse that's stuck with me my whole life, ever since he saved me 2016, 2017. It's been just ringing in my mind, like, whatever you do for Yahuwah, whatever work you do, work as if you're working for Yahuwah and not man. And we try to apply that for everything, like even working for the widows here. We're not even really doing it for them mostly, we're doing it for him, and like we love him so much, we want to show his love to other people. And that's one thing we didn't say in the last video that we posted about the widow. I want to write to her also and explain more of like why we did that for her for free, and that we want to show the love of Yahuwah to her. And because she's Christian loosely, I don't even really know what she believes, but we want to example Messiah's love to her, and really that's why we want to do what we want to do. But I feel like I'm skipping over something I was going to say. Oh, but like even like with what we do get from people, we're still using those funds to like pour back into like the whole herb thing, because it's expensive to get started with jars and herbs and different things. But if that's what he's calling us to do, I don't want to hold on to that with the iron fist and be like, no, we need this for saving up for windows and metal and everything else, and we're not going to be able to afford food. And it's like, if Yahuwah leads you to something, let go. You know, let go and just trust him, because ultimately he's the provider, and he's the one that gave you those funds in the first place. And I think a lot of people, that's how they look at like donating to other people, like, no, I worked for this money. And it's like, that's a really dangerous place to be in, you know, to think like, this is my money. Is it? If it's your money, how are you glorifying Yahuwah with it, you know?
Or
we look at everything in our life, it's His.
yeah, and then He just trusted you with it, you know. And just like, I mean, the parable of the wicked servant that hid his talent, you know.
Yeah.
But
And
we
that's,
also,
and that's not only just money, that's talents of like gifts that you've been given, spiritual gifts, and what you're doing with your time and what you're doing with your family, and like you've been given certain things that He entrusts you with. You need to be faithful with what you've been given. And we see a lot of people that think they're keeping Torah and they're not being faithful with what they've been given. And we are really always examining our lives and trying to make sure that we are not doing that in any way, to the point of like nothing's ours, not our bus, not anything. Everything's just passing through.
I was gonna say, like you said, about if something else comes up, like let it go, and just in Yahuwah's timing, the other things will happen. We also just, you know, always are praying that His will is done, and we're always watching to see if, like, is this, maybe we shouldn't do this at this time. So to the very first step that has to happen on our new bus is to raise the roof. That's like, it's like absolute step number 1 is to raise the roof. And it takes mostly just time, and especially you can do it expensively or you can do it cheaply, but it takes a little bit more time to do it that way. But that's the way we're going to do it because it's cheaper, and it actually turns out it's a little bit stronger. But we were actually so the metal to do it is not that expensive, and it's a little bit cheap right now. Like the prices are lower, and so I think it's like $285 is what we were going to have to spend just for the metal, just for the structure. Like if you think of it as a 2x4, it's just a 1" by 2" piece of metal. And so I did the math on everything we would need just to do that, and then you have to put like sheets of metal for the wall later on. But just for this first part, it was gonna be like $285, and we were literally at we went to the actual the steel yard where you can buy the steel, and we were there.
We went out of our way.
And I had done hours of research, and I was pretty sure that I needed 1" by 2" metal, and so that's what we were going to get. And we get there, and I just had this like thought pop in my head. It's like, is that exactly what you need? Because if you buy it, you can't take it back. And I wasn't 100% sure. And so I went.
I sat there for like a half hour while you were trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I did a little bit of Googling and a little bit more research, and I was like, I can't find the yes or no answer.
And also, we weren't sure if the new bus was the same as the old bus.
Yeah, and so we were in the old bus at the time. And so I went in and I talked to some people. I looked at some actual metal in person and got some different, because like a 2x4 is not 2" by 4". It's 1.5" by 3.5.
That blew my mind when he first told me that. Like, if you don't know that, none of the lumber at the lumber yards are actually what they say.
And then once you get above,
they used to be, I guess, how many years ago, but not anymore.
Yeah. Once you get above those 7 inches, I think it's 7 inches. So if you get a 2x8, if you pay attention, 2x4, 1.5" versus 3.5, you lose a ½ inch. But once you get up to 2x8, you lose 3/4 on your high number. So it's really 7.25 instead of 7.5.
We watched a video the other day of someone figuring that out for the first time, and they were just as mind blown as I was.
Yeah. But so I didn't know if metal was the same way. Like if it was a 2, if it was 1x2, if it was really like 7, if it was 1/8 inch less or something. So that looks good.
Yeah.
But so I was like, I don't know what the deal is with metal, and so I go in, and the dude's like, no, if it's a 1x2, that's 1x2, and there's not a millimeter of clearance. So we ended up not getting it that day, and then we did hours more research, and I was like, okay, I've figured out what we're gonna do, and we were about ready to get it, and then something else happened to where I was like, something crazy happened to where like all of a sudden all of our money disappeared.
You should tell him.
Yeah, so when we jumped into the bus, we just decided to not have any part in the world, and that's why we named our bus Jubilee, because it was like our massive reset. Like just that's what a Jubilee year is supposed to be: cancel everything out and restart. And so that's pretty much what we did. And so we just walked away from everything that we did. And one of those things. We sold
our house, we sold our vehicles, we sold everything, and then we closed our bank account. Like we fully pulled out of everything.
And one of those things we stopped doing was taxes. And I had a couple of years that we had worked full time that I didn't file taxes. And we're like, oh, well, we don't need to do that. And then recently, now we had to open a bank account, and we couldn't do that before because we didn't have an address that we could use. But now we've been able to do that, so we opened a bank account, and then apparently if you don't file your taxes, they will just estimate that how much you owe. And so in Wisconsin, if you don't file your taxes, they estimate that you owe them $3,500 when that's what they said. Oh, that's how much you owe. And then because we haven't had an address for the longest time, they've been sending letters to our old address or just nowhere, And so we had no idea that they were trying to reach out to us, different things. And so we woke up and all of our money, it's called a bank levy. And so the state ripped all of our money out of our bank account, and so we were at literally $0.
It was less than a month ago, while going through everything that we've been going through.
But we were I think the only reason we even checked the bank account that morning is because we were gonna go out and do some grocery shopping, and it's like, well, not anymore. And so then I ended up having
not getting any of the metal that we were just looking at.
Exactly. We were literally gonna make the call that day. That's probably another reason why you're checking, and so it was like, well, what the heck, like we got crazy tests, and all of a sudden we got nothing. And so we were very shocked. And then it turns out, so because it was from, now that was 2019 that I didn't file those taxes, I had to learn how to do it on paper. So I had to, all of a sudden now I don't have any time to do anything, and now we don't have any money, and so I can't hire anybody to help with it. So I had to go on YouTube and learn how to file my taxes on paper and like actually download the forms and fill them out.
Which is also way harder when it's not like working this year. It was 5 years ago, trying to recall everything, trying to find paperwork. And it was just like a massive test of like, Yahuwah saying, do you trust me? Like, imagine waking up and everything was taken away from you. Like not only your house, but now all the funds that you've been working to save, the little scraps that you can for how long, just gone.
Or people's donations
that were just sent for groceries for the last week, and it's just gone. And it was just like the biggest test, and I just cried and cried.
Well, the biggest thing was like, that's just the enemy system, and you're just like, you wake up and like, the enemy got us again, and like
comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
And that's what it was. Let me tell you, we've agreed with taxation as theft, but now it hits home a little different. But so
especially since like we didn't even have our bank account open for like a month or two, or a couple months.
3 months at most.
And then like they track you down with no warning, and then just drained. Like in our savings account
that was
too.
The weird thing.
We had our bank account, and then we just put some in savings because they said that they were dealing with theft at the
fraud at
and
the so they're like, we recommend you
put a little bit in your bank, so or in your savings. So we did that, and they drained our bank account and our savings
separately.
And the extra 100 that they left in there, they drained that too. So it was literally at zero.
Yeah, and we thought it was like some kind of a fraud, and then I was like, but we literally just opened the savings account because they told us to.
And they can't just
I don't even know any.
For fraud, I don't think.
Yeah, no, they can't. So it was weird. But then, so I learned how to file the taxes on paper. I get done with it, and then you can find out how much you owe or how much you should get back, and we owed $0. So the phone died, but we got plugged back in.
Yeah.
But so we ended up going through the whole process to file it on paper and learn how to do it, and then found out that we owed nothing for that year. So
so they were completely wrong.
Well, it's just
an
estimate.
Wanted to take $3,500 for something that was a zero.
Yeah. So we will get that eventually sent back to us, but it could take up to 16 weeks. Could take I think they said 12 weeks to review it, and then it could take up to 4 weeks to send it back. So
and I don't know if I said it or not already, but they literally returned the first half on my due date. So it was just like a gigantic test for us, and it was really, really hard, and I've been trying not to have much stress during this pregnancy, and just trying to push all that away for now. And we just had to surrender it all to Yahuwah, like always, like not only losing your bus, but having your money completely taken overnight.
And we're like, when we were like full-time on the road, I think we, for the most part, didn't we only have like $500 when we were full-time on the road? We always stayed right around $500.
Yeah, so it was always like 300 up to 1,200, and then that was savings. Like we never really had savings.
Yeah, that's
It
what
was
you
always
said.
like, and that was usually at the higher end. That was like right before we had to get groceries, and groceries can be hundreds, especially when you're trying to eat healthy. And then fuel, and fuel was expensive for the diesel and the bus, and
constant
anyway,
sojourning. But yeah, so like Liz was saying, it just was boom. So we're used to having not a lot of money, but when you have nothing, it was like it was a
especially in
big
this
test.
season.
Yeah.
And no like normal job, but like I'll get paid on Thursday or Friday.
Or
And
the thought of security, like I said before.
Yeah.
You know, it's just we know Yahuwah will provide for us, and He hasn't not yet. You know, and that's not always just like manna falling from the sky, but through people that He calls to to help other people. But we with having super little money, we also had every single thing that we owned in our bus, and so to go from having already like little what people would call savings. I know of people who say like, oh, we only have a little bit of savings, but they've got like 10 grand in savings. Which like,
or some people that we know that say they don't have much and they have 70 grand
yeah,
just sitting around.
yeah,
And what are they doing with that? Yeah.
yeah. But so like going from not having a lot to not having a lot of any savings really, and just living day to day. That's kind of how we like. That's what comes along with it, I guess, with fully trusting Yahuwah. Just like who just said like to take no thought for tomorrow. That's one thing we've really lived by, and but now then like the bus has now failed. We had to move out of the bus fully, and then we're in this place where our stuff is disorganized, and then all of your money's just gone overnight. The big test.
Yeah. And I was just telling her, I don't know if I said this or not either, because it cut off, but like we were just telling our toddler, it's not normal to have to live in someone else's house. And like,
I told her, I said like when we, cause sometimes we get together with people for Shabbat. We haven't in months, but when we get together with people for Shabbat or something, and like somebody goes back home, it's like they're going back to their house. And I told Isabella, I said like when they go back home, they go back to their house. They don't go back to Eve's house, which is where we're staying. And she knows that this is Eve's house. We tell her because we tell her to be super careful with everything here because it's not our stuff.
Even if it was our stuff, still be careful. We teach her that obviously, but we make it very known, like they know this isn't our house. This is not ours. None of what you see is ours, really. Not even the chairs are sitting in, or what you see behind us, or anything.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling her like it's not normal, and 99% of you watching, you have a spot in your house for every little thing, and everything is good, and we just haven't had.
And you don't have like your cupboards aren't full of somebody else's dishes.
Packed full. Like we can't put a spoon in the drawer. Like everything's moved in next to it. But I think we covered that earlier.
Yeah.
But one of the things I was thinking, we always try to be like, we're pretty positive, optimistic people for the most part. We're always trying to be making the most out of our situation and being grateful for what we do have, and really that's the only way you can survive a situation and what we've been through. Like if we didn't have gratitude and just taking it day by day and be grateful for what we do have, this could easily have just destroyed our life.
Well, it's also like a mindset too, and I realized that as we talked about making this video for the last like 3 days, and like is this something that we should do, and we've been praying about it and thinking of like, is there something else that we can do before we ask other people for help, for like not only prayer but for financial help. And we've just been thinking about it, and no part of me wants to make any kind of video like this. Like Lily said, like being optimistic is not only just like, yeah, I hope so, but like I watched a video a long time ago, and it was talking about like the power of your thoughts and everything, and I've just adapted the mindset of like I'm optimistic, and I don't just think I'm optimistic. Like, so when Lily's like we're having a hard time, and obviously I know we are, but we could explain that to people, and just reach out and tell people we need help, we need prayer. But my mindset is so much like I know that I'm struggling so much but I'm like, I don't need to ask for help because I know that he was going to provide. But at the same time, if we don't ever ask for, if no.
Well, we're not supposed to do it alone, and that's what I was telling you as we were talking about it, and because I don't want to ask. No one likes asking for help.
But I was just trying to say, like, my mindset is so much of like fully trusting him that it's like I don't need to ask for help because I know he'll provide. But then that's what I was saying, like, if you don't ever ask for help, people don't know that you need help, and that is most often. And we've had times where, like, especially before when we had bills, where our bills would just be paid, and I was like, did I pay that bill? And I look at my bank account, I didn't pay the bill. Or like sometimes there would just be money in our bank account, and like you would just directly provide it in those instances. But most often that doesn't happen. It's usually through like somebody's like, hey, we want to help you out. We
We've
see
seen that a lot with other people too. Like, you won't even know your friends are suffering or struggling at all most of the time unless they tell you. Sometimes the Spirit will reveal it, but sometimes also Yahuwah humbles them enough to ask for help. And we've seen people say like, oh, I don't want to ask for help because I don't want to get persecuted, but also that's kind of closing Yahuwah's hand to allow him to work through other people as well.
I mean, you could say that for anything. You could say, I don't want to keep the Sabbath because I'll get persecuted. People at work will think of me differently if I stop coming to work on Shabbat and I make a big deal about not doing it. But that's not righteous. And we see through all of the scriptures where there's people that do Yahuwah's will that didn't have, like, a lot of people talk about, like, Paul made tents and stuff, which we do a lot, like that was how he brought in an income. And Lily makes a ton of stuff, which we got some stuff.
And I wouldn't be able to make those things if you weren't holding down the house in every other way.
Yeah, but like, so that's how we try and make our needs be met on our own. But also, like we talked about earlier, not to just make a tent for somebody that is vanity, but actually to make something that's profitable for Yahuwah's kingdom, or that will lead people to Yahuwah's kingdom.
We see many people, disciples, where Yahushua said, quit your job, leave your fishing job, leave everything and follow
Drop their
me.
nets and follow them.
And we actually did that. When we sold our house, we put just a little bit that we needed into the bus, and then we gave away a lot of it to help other people, and we took those verses to heart, and we've lived that way ever since. So we really are those sojourners, and Yahuwah's made provisions in this Torah for people like us, especially families that really, really need help. And I don't think people realize how hard it is to raise children completely on your own.
Sure, I didn't.
No.
we had a friend that what do you call it? It's a friend, but a couple that we're friends with that recently just had another child. It's their second one, and I think it's been like coming up on 2 weeks now that they had their second one, and he messaged me today, and he's like, man, I don't know how anybody has a normal job and raises their own children, and we've got 3, about to have 4. And I was like, I know what you're saying. That's it.
Other friends that say the same thing, especially with no support. A lot of people have parents and grandparents that help and give a break. We've never had that. We've completely raised our children on our own.
But then it's made even harder with your oldest one, who should be
helping,
fully capable of helping. And what we've seen with Isabella, our middle one, who is
almost 4,
super smart, and she had to learn everything on her own. She was essentially like the first child because she didn't have anybody to help her. But now we've been able to see, like, she did learn a little bit from Gabriel just watching him, but Isabella has been able to help and show, and it's somebody for Eliana, our youngest, to look up to. And Eliana is probably like almost learned twice as fast as Isabella. Like, I would say she's probably like 75% of what Isabella knows and can do, Eliana knows and can do, and she's 2 years younger. And it's just crazy to see how fast they can learn off of each other. But we should be able to have a 5-year-old who can do even more than Isabella, and help even more, and not need as much attention. But that's not the way it is. So it's a lot harder on us because of that. Which just everything that we struggle with just comes down to time. Like Lily and I we're talking about, like, if you could grant us one thing, like if he said anything you want, you pick one thing and I'll give it to you no matter what it is, we would just eliminate the need and the necessity to have to sleep. Because if we could just stay up all night long and do all the work that
And
we
not
need to do
need
all
rest.
night long, and then we could spend time with our children more during the day, and we could work all night long, we could do, like, make natural medicines, and we could do all this other stuff all night long. If we could just work all day and all night.
Yeah, we always say there's never enough time in our
Yeah.
days, and we are just working constantly. And that's one reason, like, we're so grateful for this house and we love it, and like having, you know, shelter and everything, but we hate it. We hate normal houses and normal living, and just like the upkeep that comes with having such a house like this.
It's also just so wasteful.
It's wasteful to live this way, you know. Even with just simple things like electricity, and it takes up so much of our time unnecessarily. Like, nobody needs, like, we loved living in the bus. We loved it so much. It was small, it was only what we needed, it was convenient, everything had its place. If we had too much, we got rid of it. You know, we always had like a good system. Give it away. If we don't use it in 6 months, it's gone. Like, we were complete minimalists, and very conscious of every drop of water that we brought in, everything of waste, garbage, food. It was such a simple way of living, and that's what we want to get back to. And we know if it's Yahuwah's will, it'll happen. And Yahuwah will work in the hearts of the people that see this, and have His will be done, and that's all we're living for.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that every time we go in the bus to go get groceries, because it's still our only vehicle that we have, and it's still, all the mold and rust problems are still there, but we don't have another choice for like transportation. So but whenever we go out to like get stuff, especially up here, when, what is our coldest day now?
-40 wind chill.
-40 wind chill, but -29 or something without the wind chill.
Yeah.
And so if you're gonna load up and go to the store, you have to have several backup plans in case the vehicle fails and you're an hour away from home. You don't want to freeze to death, and that'll happen quick. So you got to load all this stuff up just in case something goes wrong, especially with the old bus. I got to put all the tools in the bus, everything that we need, that in the event that something breaks, maybe I can fix it. So it's like,
and I can't carry anything heavy at this point, so you're
it's
loading the bus
it's like
yourself.
a half hour of loading stuff into the bus. But then every time we get in the bus, the babies are in their car seats and we're about to go, we're just like, man, I must be on the bus.
And it was so funny when we used to go to the grocery stores and stuff. People always, like, the workers would always make us show them our receipts.
Try to.
Because we would never grab bags, because we're going to grab our groceries, put them in the cart, bring it out, put it right into our fridge in our house. And then we always had everything with us. And even, like, if we would go to a property to help people, they'd be like, oh, do you want to use our car? Like, no, we want to take the bus. It's just more convenient. All of our stuff's with us. If anything happens, like, it's in the bus. It's our whole house. It's our whole life. And that's how we lived. And now it's not that way. And going to the store an hour away, it's just a burden. Everything is just so hard on us and burdensome.
Or like the time thing, it takes a half hour to load this stuff into the bus, half hour to unload it, but then you got an extra 10 minutes to unload your groceries, and then 15 minutes to put them away in the house. And it's like, all of that was just non-existent in the bus. It's so much of a simpler way to live. And then we were looking around here, and it's like, why does the power bill have to be so high? Why do you need so much power? Why do you need so many lights? And it's like, because there's just so much more space, and one light doesn't light the space up like
So
it does in a bus.
30 lights.
So you need 30
light
lights.
up your room, and it snowball effects to
And
your
then
whole life.
heat. You can't just heat the small space. You have to heat this big space.
And then also, a house like this doesn't force you to have little. You just keep acquiring and acquiring, and that's what we see with all Eve's stuff. Like, I feel so bad with older couples getting to the end of their life, and all of a sudden they have all this stuff, accumulated things, and usually that gets passed down to, you know, their children. And for Eve's thing, like, her husband passes away, and then what am I going to do with all this stuff? And that's one thing that we really want to help her with this summer. And that's another thing. If we do get into the bus, we're going to make sure that she's fully good here. And we want to be coming back and helping, and also going and helping the other widows that need help, and just going for free. And not, like, we want to show up in our bus, self-contained, everything we need, don't need a single thing. Like, we don't like being here and having to use all this stuff and live in her house. It feels like such a burden, even though we're leaving it better than we left in helping her. But we want to show up to places, be like, we don't need to plug in. We are fully self-sufficient. We don't need water, food, anything. We're good. And we're just here to help you. We're here to be the hands and feet of Messiah to you.
Pour out instead of in.
Yeah, and that's why it's hard to make these videos, because we don't want to be taking. We don't want to be asking. We want to be giving, and that's what we want our whole life to be about.
And we do a lot of that.
Yeah, but that's, and I was gonna say, I kind of cut you off. Is there something else?
Couldn't tell you if there was.
Sorry. I was gonna say, like, we're very optimistic, and I asked Alex the other day, I was like, is there something wrong with me? Like, am I just not handling everything well? And he's like, look at where we are. We're sojourning in someone else's house. It's not ours. We don't have a plan. You're fully trusting Him with every part of your life.
Which is better, but at the same time, it's just complete uncertain. You know, like you.
Well, your certainty is in Yahweh.
I know, but I mean, like,
but you don't get to see
know
that.
what that looks like. And
it's
when
like having faith in the kingdom. You know it's there. It's coming.
But when you take the reins of your own life and say, not Yahuwah's will be done, but mine, I will make the plans. I want to go to Florida, and I want to build a house in Florida. That's what you do. But you take away whatever maybe Yahuwah has for you to go to Idaho and take care of a widow's property and inherit that property. But if you take, if you say, this is my will, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to Florida, you miss out on whatever Yahuwah was going to lead you to do.
We never know what He has for us, and His plans are always better, and that's where we have our hope and our joy in this season. And even with our son, like, I've asked him one word, and he could be healed. He could speak, and I've asked him that, begging in tears, like literally like beating my chest, just crying. I've been times where I've like wanted to go out into a field and just scream into the ground and just beg Him to give us our son, because he's just been completely stolen from us in so many ways, and we've done everything that we can.
But now we've got Isabel and Eliana praying for him too.
Yeah.
They've been praying for him as well.
Yeah, we all lay hands on him, and we've also been using that same frankincense oil to like anoint them sometimes and pray over them. But I asked Alex, I was like, am I not coping well? And he's like, you're going through a really hard time, like you're being strong and you're 41 weeks pregnant, and like it's not normal to go through what we're going through, and people can say they understand, but who knows what it's like to live in someone else's house and just live the way that we've lived and actually give up everything. Most people would just only focus on themselves in this season, and we're still just trying to give to others.
But what we were talking about mainly in that moment is like, we are so busy throughout the day, and Lily spent so much time researching and trying to learn about natural medicine to be able to help other people and also create income for us and stuff. But like that all takes
reasonably priced and not cost too much.
But that also takes all that is just time and working and studying and researching and learning, and then that's all I'm doing all day long. And eventually you do that for long enough and you don't even like remember who you are anymore, or like taking care of yourself, like because you're always just doing things that
having the energy to shower.
Or making the time for that, saying like, I'm gonna take a shower tonight instead of get closer to being able to make this medicine that somebody needs and that we need,
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half to shower, especially with my long hair. It takes a good while to comb, and I'm exhausted with my huge belly and everything.
That makes it easier to comb your hair, having a big belly.
Yeah, especially not since half the time I have to put my hair like over and like brush it out because I can't reach it. But anyways, I keep trying to say, like, I had like a realization the other day of like how hard our life is. I was laying in the bed and I was like finally getting comfortable. I was like, you know what? Because we used to sleep in the basement here, and then we moved up to a loft for the winter so we could be warmer. And I was like, I really like it here. Our children sleep in like this futon bed, and then our youngest sleeps in the crib next to them, and we have our bed just on the floor, the mattress on the floor. And We have like our linen sheets, and I was like, you know what, this is cozy, and we have our needs met, and everything's okay. Like nothing in our life is ideal right now, but you know we're gonna have a healthy baby and a healthy home birth here, and everything's good. And I was like, you know what, I'm really grateful. And then I look over and I just see like these boxes stacked up right next to the bed, and all these things that are Eve's, and like this bookshelf, and I was like just fully surrounded by all of her stuff, and like I'm sleeping next to
Literally.
boxes, and I'm almost crying because I'm so grateful. Like Yahuwah is definitely refining us during this season, and teaching us so much, and I'm trying to focus on those things and focus on like, what are you trying to teach us here? What is your will? Even though we're exhausted and delirious because of how tired we are, and we should be showering right now instead of making this video, but we need help so bad that we have to just make it, and didn't even think we'd be able to talk for more than 15 minutes and actually have our thoughts together. But he's good through it all, and just being grateful and optimistic, and keep our hearts soft through it. And it's hard. We've been slandered a lot too through all of this, and people say like we're foolish for giving up our lives and working for widows, and we could just be selfish. And you know, I understand a lot of people live that way, and they can be comfortable in their own houses and have their bills paid, and they're fine with the widow next door crying themselves to sleep at night, but I'm not. I see that and it breaks my heart, and I see so much suffering. And I think even families like ours, there's a lot of families like ours that are suffering way more than they should be, especially when they're willing to give up everything. And it's hard not to harden my heart towards those people and still remain soft, and still put our hearts out here and ask for help, and be humble, and to say like, help us while we're helping other people. So we don't want to be taken. We would rather just be making a video, be like, if anyone needs help, reach out to us and we can help you. And that's kind of what I want to do with this natural medicine.
Well, like with the last video, it's like perfect example of we were able to get the funding to be able to do that to somebody to be able to fix somebody's porch, a widow, for free. That's all we want to be doing, is making videos like that of like, look at this huge blessing. This porch that was built on a rotten beam to begin with, and now it's only gotten worse, is finally the way that it needed to be, you know?
Yeah, it was so bad. I see why she's like, I didn't want to have anyone over on my porch.
Or like when she said every time she went to the bird feeder, which was like all the way out on like over nothing, she's like, I don't know if I'll fall through the porch or not.
And especially for someone that is old and all alone, like, there's no one up here. We are alone, and no one comes to check on anyone.
That was the crazy thing about like, now that we've been here, nobody's really called.
No.
Like to check on
no
Eve,
one knows
the widow.
that Eve isn't living here.
Yeah, we've gotten a couple of calls from just a couple of her friends, like, hey, is Eve around? How's Eve doing? But it's been like, that's only like a couple, and like
now that we're realizing we've been here for 10 months.
Yeah, and like nobody's calling to check up on widows or.
Yeah, like they're completely alone, and that's the biggest thing. Like, if we only need help for this season, and then once our bus is done, what are we gonna need after that? You know, and even if we would take a week of working to supply a month of being able to even just use our own finances to help widows, then we can go and we can be there for a month. I think we talked about this in another video. We can be there. The one talking about you working. We can be there for a month, and we can cook for them, and we can spend time with them and read scripture and make fresh milk bread, and just be a friend to them, because really widows, they're so lonely, and people don't realize that, and it's just heartbreaking because there's so much need, but people are so focused on themselves and just working their 9 to 5, and most people don't even see their families, and we just want to not live that way and be put in a situation where we can just serve others completely free with our whole lives. And we realize that's why we're transitioning away from homeless. Like, widows need it more, and they don't choose to be widows.
Yeah, most of the time homeless people choose to be homeless.
But even in the season when we're giving, we're trying to give back to those that need it. You know, if you don't need help, we just pray that if you can donate anything, $5, $10, it helps us tremendously. But we also have like I have magnesium oil spray. I don't know.
I think here it should be right there, right in between our heads would be.
Okay,
good.
I'll just give it to you and you can do it. And then we got the verse on the side. It says, "Heal me, O Yahweh, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved, for thou art my praise." Jeremiah 17:14. And this is like, there's like 80% of people are deficient in magnesium, and you need it for, I think it's like,
Like most of your electric functions in your body.
Yeah,
Is that what
it's-
you're saying?
like I have a lot of like details and stuff about what each of these are, but if you just shower and then your pores are all clean and they're open, you just spray this over your whole body. It's like
It's the best way to
transdermally,
absorb
like
it.
yeah, through your skin is like the best way to absorb it. And then your body can also not get like too much magnesium. I remember taking magnesium supplements when I was pregnant with Gabriel, and it made me sick because
You overdid it.
you can easily overdo it, but spraying it on your skin, your body is able to regulate it better. So that's super good. This is only $25 for 16 ounces. This is a lot of sprays. Like, I don't even know how long it would last you.
You've been using that one in the basement for a long time, and I don't know if we've even made a dent in that thing.
Yeah. And then we have our willow bark tincture. This, we actually sourced and wild harvested willow bark and willow leaves from a tree that we found in the woods, a big old willow tree. And we
Creek in southern Wisconsin.
and we debarked it, de-leafed it, dried all the leaves and the bark, and we were selling the just bark and leaves for teas and stuff, but then that sold out. And then we had ones made with Everclear, and those sold out, and now we have these ones made with ACV, apple cider vinegar, and that's with mother. I don't remember what that means. You told me, but
It's like with the source of what fermented the apples to begin with.
yeah, it's just organic and wild foraged, and we did it all ourselves, and it sat for over 100 days, and it's really, really potent. Like, I had my wisdom teeth come in and break in my mouth, and nothing touched the pain. The only thing that helped was willow bark. So it's like a super potent natural pain reliever. And the thing that it's best for, I would say, is like headaches, and like mouth pain, but it can also help with like joint pain and just general overall pain.
Yeah. I know the one time when I was coming here and smacked my shin on the shelf really bad, and I had a headache at the same time. We were going to get milk, and I took the tincture, and within 20 minutes I couldn't feel my shin hurting or my headache.
We were all packed up, and he didn't want to come back in, and I was like, just go back in, just take it, it'll help. And then he forgot that he took it, and then he realized, he's like, oh, I don't have any pain. I was like, I told you it was worth it. And then this warming salve, this is extremely powerful stuff. This is made with 90,000 heat unit cayenne. The normal stuff at the stores that you use for like cooking is like 35,000, so almost 3 times as strong. And the way that cayenne works is if you have like arthritis, like on your wrist, if you rub it on there, it'll soak in and it overwhelms the nerves so that they don't send pain signals to your brain. So your nerves won't be able to do pain signals, and then it actually over time heals your nerves and actually can start to heal your arthritis. And it's super good for like the best spots I found are like your knees, ankles, like where it can like really sink in and be topical. It does work for some people for like sciatica, but for my pain with my sciatic nerve, it can't get quite deep enough. And I think that's just because I'm pregnant, because everything's opening for baby. But it's got we just took organic olive oil, infused it with 90,000 heat unit cayenne and organic ginger roots, and then organic beeswax. And then you need to wash your hands really good, because if you touch your eyes, you're going to be crying.
Or your mouth.
Or your mouth. And don't touch your babies after. It's like if you got children.
Areas. It's very, 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 very. It's got a caution label on it.
It does. It has right there. It says caution. It says avoid sensitive areas of the body. Wash hands liberally after each use, and do not touch your eyes. Not for children. Use with care. So it's like when we make medicine, we're making it very strong. I tried to get 160,000 heat unit cayenne. Couldn't find, like, everything sold out for that, but this is very, very strong.
I haven't used that stuff because I'm scared of it. I don't want to get that stuff anywhere that it shouldn't be.
Yeah,
Because
I used it one time, and just for my back because it was hurting, and then I couldn't feel Alex poking my back where he had rubbed it, so
I don't have
it
arthritis,
really works.
but if I did, I would use it.
And
But
yeah, the couple people that have used it for arthritis, they said it completely takes away their pain. So we have that. Oh, and yeah, this is, we reduced it to $40. This is $25 also, same as the magnesium oil spray. And I don't know if you'll be able to see
you
it.
should definitely look at
It's like a nice pretty red. It smells good. Because of the ginger in it. I didn't know ginger smelled so sweet until I made that.
But we've been, like, you put all the cayenne in there with the ginger and everything, and you, just like the frankincense we were talking about, you infuse it into olive oil to start, and then you strain that stuff out, and rather than just throw it away, I like to eat spicy stuff.
I don't.
And so I, like, kept a jar of it, and I use it every once in a while when I'm making something, but it is seriously hot. Like, I was extremely shocked at how powerful that stuff is.
I won't try it. I might like work my way up with cayenne.
The first time I tried it, I way overdid it, and it was
too much.
It was a big shock.
There's a reason they sell 30,000 and not 90. You should tell them about our heel loss staff.
I thought there was one other thing I was going to talk about with the heel loss staff. I don't remember though. I don't know enough about it really. I mean, it's the same process. So we did olive oil with.
Yeah, it's all organic.
We use the comfrey
leaves, yarrow flowers, and then the whole St. John's wort herb, and infused it into olive oil with beeswax, and that was over, I think, also 7 days. 7 days for this. But this comfrey, it's like nickname for comfrey is knit bone or bone knit. If you break a bone and you rub it on your skin, and it doesn't have to be like broken skin, it will sink in, and it, because it has what is it called? It like stimulates.
Promotes.
Yeah, I can't think. There's a medical term for it. Anyways, it stimulates like new growth in your cells, and it can knit the bones back together. Our son actually broke his collarbone when he was 1 year old, kicking out of Alex's hands. Fell all the way down to his shoulder, broke it in half. It was sticking up underneath his skin, and we prayed over him. Yahuwah put it back into place on his own, and then we got a comfrey salve kind of from across the street from a natural food store.
Yeah, we didn't use like actual comfrey leaves though, right? Wasn't that one? We looked it up, and it didn't use like actual comfrey leaves. It used like comfrey essential oil or something like that.
No,
or did that one have real leaves?
I think it had. I don't know. There was something where it's nothing like this. Like this is like 100 times more potent. But we just that store-bought stuff, put it on, and in a week with prayer, he was healed. Like there's powerful testimonies. Like if you don't know about comfrey, look it up, because it can heal some stuff. But we did comfrey, and then yarrow. There's actually Roman soldiers that would always carry yarrow in their bags, like their pouches, and they would pack their wounds with it because it would stop bleeding. It'd be extremely good for like antibacterial and just promoting healing. And this, they say, like the comfrey you have to be careful with, especially when you use it on its own, because if you have like a really deep wound and you put it on there, it can close the outside skin before the whole thing has enough time to heal.
And it sealed like if there's any bacteria in there that's not beneficial bacteria, it can seal that in, and then it just can be a huge infection.
I don't think I would be worried about that. I think if I hurt myself that bad, I would use this and just push it in there, because the comfrey, yarrow, and St. John's wort, it's so antibacterial. I don't think there would ever be even a chance of infection. But this is extremely good for any type of skin condition, and it's very potent. It says skin and wound repair, and then this is $35, and it's very green. It's like almost looks like a lime green, and that's like the yarrow and the beeswax lightening it, and the St. John's wort, but the comfrey's a deep green, so it blends well with that. And then that's also really good for like hemorrhoids or any type of like ulcers or cuts, burns. He uses it on his burns. That's what we were talking about before for his.
well, I was gonna show you. Look at that. That's a
What
wood
is it?
stove burn.
Oh, where you put it
Yeah,
on?
and it I looked at it. That's another one. Tons of wood stove burns from loading up the
What
wood
did I
stove.
ask you the other day that someone used comfrey for? Was it a 2nd degree or 4th?
I don't
2nd
remember.
degree? Someone got really bad burns, and it was a type of burn that was like always known for scarring, like no matter what you do. And usually they'd have to have skin grafts, and they just used a comfrey salve like ours, and there was no scarring.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good at like even like post-surgery stuff. Like, we don't agree with surgery in a lot of ways, but if you do, you know, it's very good for that and pretty much healing anything. And this is our pure frankincense oil. Seems like it has amazing skin healing stuff too. Like, this is the stuff that we said cured Gabriel's eczema.
Mm-hmm.
It's not coming back. We're not
We really put it on in the last like 3 days.
Yeah, and it's not coming back, so it really is healing and detoxing it. But I used Carmel, Hojari, Boswellia sacra frankincense. That's the best kind of frankincense you can get. And it is known to be, and the most well studied and most well known to have the most boswellic acid, which is the best, most powerful healing compound in the frankincense.
Mm-hmm.
So super high quality, and like we said, from the Dhofar mountains in Oman, and paid a good amount of money for it, and that's amazing testimony in itself. We had purchased some frankincense and myrrh, and we prayed about it and prayed, and we're like, Yahuwah, if this is your will, then just help us and bless it. And then within 3 minutes of placing the order, we had gotten a donation that completely covered the cost of it. 3 minutes. And we're like, and we hadn't gotten a donation in a long time before that, so it was like Yahuwah is providing like this healing for his children. But that's just, we infused it very slow and warming into organic olive oil, so it's literally just pure frankincense and olive oil. And the olive trees are extremely blessed, and frankincense is talked about in scripture a ton. And this is $55 a bottle. It's our most expensive thing, but it's also extremely high quality, and there's about 600 drops in a 1 ounce thing, and
we probably used like
maybe 50 drops for Gabriel,
maybe 50.
not even.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it can heal, that's hundreds of uses for most applications.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you take 1 drop and you put it on your forehead, and it'll coat your whole forehead just with 1 drop, just because it's really what's the word? I don't know, it spreads well. So, and this is good for acne. It's like good for like any type of skin condition. It's good for anointing oil. It smells. I had a lot of good smells that were my favorite, but nothing compares to frankincense now that I've smelled them.
Like the quality, I would say probably the quality of the frankincense is what really makes it smell good.
Yeah.
Versus like
because we've smelled a lot of other frankincense, and it's not that great. And this is also not essential oils.
Yeah.
So it is
The actual frankincense.
Essential oils are distilled most of the time, and they don't, when you do that, it doesn't take all the good medical compounds from the herbs. So essential oils are not high in boswellic acid, which is the most potent thing that you can have. So your essential oils, odds are that it's going to cure your eczema, probably not very high. You know, there's not very many healing testimonies like powerful, especially in like 3 days. Like, this is crazy. And we're actually learning about other stuff like tea tree. Like, you hear how great tea tree essential oils are and everything. We're learning, get it from the actual tea tree plant, you know, and we're really learning how to use plants in their whole
complete form.
Yeah, their complete form, and that Yahuwah created there to be balance as well. And also like the power of teas, because it's like the whole herb dried, and you can get all that, and then your body can just go through and be like, I want this, I want this, I want this. It's not like pharmakia where there's side effects and your body's overwhelmed and it doesn't know what to do, and it's like you're forcing something into your body. But with real medicine, your body can just choose what it needs, and it's in your DNA. Your body knows what to do and knows how to heal itself. It just needs help.
But if you want to pray for something else, pray for us to find some affordable tea tree.
I think I found
Did you?
some.
We
It's
found
very rare. It's
Yeah.
very hard to find.
we called the place and we got a quote. If you have to call and get a quote, you know you can't afford it. But it was gonna be it was like a little over it was possibly gonna be $700 for 1 pound.
Yeah.
But it could have been. She said is if there's any other fees that come up with the importing process, it could potentially be a couple $100 more.
Right, we should try to get through
Crazy.
this stuff. But either way, that is expensive and hard to find. But we're just going to keep praying. And whatever Yahuwah leads us to,
Maybe
He'll
we'll
make
find
the
one.
way. Maybe we'll find it. No, they're only in Australia. I do have ZT, but I will preface right away. With me about to have our baby, these take an hour to an hour and a half per set at least. So if you do order ZT from the website, it can be up to at least a month of me having to make them because they take so long. But that might be something I can do.
It's over an hour at a time, isn't it? Because you got to prepare them.
Yeah, it's usually like over an hour and a half per set. And then we do have stickers. I couldn't find any of our other ones, but we do have. We have.
Pictograph.
This is pictograph Hebrew. This is the Father's name, Yod He Wah He, Yahuwah. A lot of people pronounce it differently if you don't know. But we also have Paleo Hebrew. We have Torah lamps, which is just a lamp and a flame that says Torah, because His Torah, His law, His commandments are the light and the lamp of our lives, and following them in Yahusha. I designed those myself.
That's
And we have black, white, or gold. You can just look on the website to see what we all have. And then I also make paintings, and I can do canvas prints of them. So this is our, oh gosh, what size is this? This is 8x8, I think. And this little guy, that is the modern Hebrew. So it says Yod He Wah He, but it makes the shape of a man.
You stack it up.
I don't know if you can see it. Anyways, this is an 8x8. I have over 100 different designs that you can choose from, and then it's got whatever is here, it just goes on the side, and then that's what the back looks like. You got like this little clip, and then you can just, usually what I do is just do command strips, and you just stick it on your wall, because then you don't have to put a screw or a nail in your wall.
You can get it placed right.
And so this is just one of the hundreds of designs that I have.
So cool. I don't know if you can get the way the light shines off of that. It's
really glossy.
high quality.
So this is original painting, but I get it printed from a third party, and I price them as cheap as I can with the cost and shipping and everything, and also blessing us. And this is a great way to support us, where I've put hundreds of hours into something, but I'm not having to do it in this season because I'm not the one printing them, but you're also getting amazing artwork for your home too. I think a lot of people don't have enough artwork and reminders in their house that just glorifies Him. What is this? I think this is the 12 one. Wait.
8x12.
Is it 8x12? Okay. Here's one of them. This is one of my favorites.
That old one. Where is that?
In our bus.
That's still in the bus?
Yeah. The original one's still in our bus. This is a 12x12. They're only going to get bigger.
A lot of these you can get in multiple sizes, right? Like you could get this one in an 8x8, right?
Yeah, you can get any. So each of these designs, you can get in any of these sizes.
As long as it's not like a rectangle shape to begin with.
Yeah, so if you're going to order a 12x12, I'll size it up, and I'll do a 12x16 if it's a rectangle. So.
And it's not like a third party where you're still the one making sure that it's right.
Yep. Yeah. I'm still the one doing everything. They're just the one using their big machinery to print it.
I made this one way before we got on the bus.
That one went to Rachel. I think she put it in her kitchen.
Oh, geez, it's big.
Yeah. This is a 16 by 16.
It's not even all the way in.
Is it really?
Yeah, that right there is all the way in.
This one I named Sojourner. I actually saw a little wood carving of a guy, and then I looked at it and I just drew, like, just by looking at like the little guy, a picture of it, and then I just drew it, and then I colored it with Sharpies, and then this was Alex's idea with the Paleo Hebrew name, Yod Hey Wah Hey with logs, and then he's got his staff, and this is definitely one of my favorite designs.
The original one's right over there.
Yeah, it's over there somewhere. And then this is our biggest, just because it's a rectangle. That one is our biggest option, 16 by 16. But if it turns out to be a rectangle, it'll be 16 by 20. So.
Jeez, that is gonna be a tough one. You got it.
And then this says Aleph, Tav. That's the first and last letter. Aleph is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and this is Paleo Hebrew. And this is Tav. You hear like Alpha and Omega.
Who said that?
That's Greek. What?
Who said that?
What?
I'm Alpha Tav.
Yahusha? That's what I know.
Yahusha.
Yeah, I know, but when you hear like Alpha and Omega, it's actually Aleph and Tav, and it's more accurate. And then Yod, Hey. Why can't I think of it? I'm tired.
Probably because it is 11:30.
Yeah, right, you say it.
Yod, Hey, Wah, Shin, Ayin.
Yep. And then I just did the vines, and it's a big menorah in your house.
Such a good one.
Yeah.
This one's actually got, does that one have?
Oh yeah, this one has
Yeah,
a little
so
bit
does
more
this one.
support
It's got,
because
like,
it's so
corner
big,
brace.
so it's got like braces, and then you can do command strips on there easily, or you could use screws and just hang it up.
That is some thick premium vinyl.
It's strong. Yeah, see, I really made sure to, like I said, I want my heart to be in everything, and I don't have any desire to just make money off people. I don't even like asking for money for.
We like to make all this stuff and give it away.
Yeah, well, for a lot of things we do. And even medicine sometimes, if we know the people that they really need help, we just gift it to them.
Like these. We give a lot of, not that as many as we wanted to, but we give a lot of the Christmas cards away.
I've talked enough.
Yeah, what it started with this one. I wanted, when we were shopping in the stores, I wanted to have like a sticker that I could just slap on the inside of like the pizza area or like the shrimp area or somewhere that would be like, don't eat this stuff because it's not food. And so that, but then
or even just right where the pork is.
Yeah, but we changed it to be like a card. So it's a card that it's a 4x6 card, and it's super glossy against it. Whoa, look at that. That's awesome. You see that?
Oh yeah.
Jeez. But so it's a 4x6 card, and it just is super basic. Don't eat pork or shellfish. It's got Leviticus 11 verse there. Read Leviticus 11. Is that? Yeah, Leviticus 11. And then on the back, it's got the 10 Commandments, a little spot to write a message if you're talking to somebody. But we made it not be a sticker, so you can just hand it to somebody or you can leave it somewhere. But then we did that one first. Which one was it? No, this one was first. Yeah, this one was first. This is just a card, like when we were out talking to people, we would give these out to people. And I can't see if it's blown out or not. Looks like it is. It's pretty good.
I think it's good.
Yeah. But so we made that one to give to people, like homeless people we're talking to.
And I'm still working on filling all these out on the website.
It's just a bunch of questions, and they're thought-provoking questions that get people thinking, and then you can have a conversation with them about any one of the questions on there or anything else. And then it's just a link to our website where you only have 5 minutes with people, but
you can leave them with a resource.
Yeah, a resource. And then on the back of all these is our contact email, that if you chat about scriptures or need help with anything,
a few people have reached out to us, and we can tell that people that have ordered the Leviticus 11 cards are placing them because some of the employees are mad.
We get emails, angry emails from
lots of swear words. They're not happy.
And I'm like, I know I didn't place any Leviticus 11 cards recently, so somebody else is doing that. But then, which one was it next? This one? No. Yeah. This one.
This one
we did the Halloween card just to put it out.
No, because this one was the last.
It was
that was way earlier. We didn't do this recently.
We did this one, then the Christmas ones. But we did a Halloween card just to go put around like at Halloween time. Like, don't celebrate Halloween. It's
no witchcraft, no fear, no death, no blood, no ghosts.
and then a verse that talks about don't do
Deuteronomy
any of that stuff.
18:10. Like you can read them fully on the website.
And then this one was my favorite of all of our Shabbat signs that we placed. We put 250 signs with this design.
All over the country in
20
22 states in the highest traffic areas of the country. Big yard signs. And
for some reason I thought there was 25 states in the entire U.S. I was like, that's only 2 away from the whole thing.
Sleep deprivation. Anyways. And it's only going to get worse as
Yeah.
our new baby gets you.
Hopefully not.
Pray for us.
Yeah. But so they all have the same back. This one has a QR code that you can scan, and it takes you to a really good documentary. But this one is about don't celebrate Christmas. And I made it look real Christmassy so it blends in and it stays on shelves in different places longer.
And these are cheap. We sell these for only 50 cents a card. So you can get 20 of them for $10 and then up packs from there.
But we wanted to get a bunch of as many of those Christmas ones out as possible. So we made them, we literally just made a post and like give them away free. We just want to get them out there. And we actually didn't have that many people reach out to us, which was kind of sad.
Shocking and sad. But I think I'm being censored a lot on Facebook, and it's another reason we felt led to try to make a video. And you know, if you see this, please share it with your friends, because I'm just being censored like crazy, and we really do need a lot of help. But we have all the stuff that we could give back if you want to support us. Like I said, Zed seed in the season might not be the best if you want to be considerate of our time and how exhausted we are. But we have 1,000 of each of these cards made already, just waiting to go out. Oh, about 500 of each now, because we used a bunch. We also went out to a bunch of stores and just placed a ton, especially before Christmas.
Well, like for if you're like, well, how do I use this? I put these when we would go thrift shopping and try and find like natural clothing for a good price, and it was also a really good way when it's super cold out that Lily could get exercise. And so we would go and try and see if we could find like a really nice wool sweater or something. And when the women's section is a million times bigger than the men's section. So I looked through mine in 5 seconds, and it takes her like almost an hour to go diligently through everything. But so I would put these in books about like Christmas books in the book section of Goodwill. I put these in the DVDs of Christmas movies, and they fit perfectly like in a DVD case. There's those 2 tabs that hold like whatever was in there, and it fits perfectly in there. And then somebody buys a Christmas movie, pops it open to watch it. It's like, what is this? And
also, you've been putting them in on the tack boards.
Message boards. Yeah, they're just like little message boards in like a restaurant or something, or a gas station.
Gas stations, restaurants, they're everywhere.
I thought you were going to talk about the blankets.
Blankets?
Yeah, at the Goodwills. Remember I told you that?
You put them in?
Yeah, at the Goodwills they have some stuff that's brand new, and so they have like one of those super plush blankets, and it's like wrapped up, but they're just folded, and so you can slide your hand in there easily. And so I would just slide different cards in their Shabbat cards, and then
get home and you open
buy
up
a
your
brand
blanket.
new
Christmas is not Christian.
Yeah.
Honor the Sabbath day. Halloween is an abomination. Repent for the kingdom. Read Leviticus 11. And then Alex, once in a while we'll go to a restaurant. If we do ever go to a restaurant, definitely not in this season, we always call ahead and make sure like it's not cross-contaminated or anything. But this is great for at restaurants. Little Caesars, if you call ahead and make sure that it's not contaminated with pork and different things, just pop it right there, right at the front desk. Or we got some pictures of
or in like any grocery store.
Slim Jims, pork rinds. There's so many aisles. It's, almost every aisle has some type of pork in it.
Breakfast sandwiches.
These are just conversation starters for anyone that needs them. You know, Halloween, it might not be the time for it right now, but if you go to stores, and there's stores like Spirit Halloween that are year-round.
Yeah, or put those in like the movies that are like glorifying all that stuff.
Right, so like for the
and like I put them in Twilight movies or in satanic books, and or like scary movies. That's all that stuff is. Fear and
death, ghosts, everything else, witchcraft. But don't be deterred just because Halloween and Christmas isn't in the season that we just passed it, because there's lots of opportunities. And these, like, you can put them on people's car windows, gas station pumps. There's so many. Like, just be creative. Like, we created these so that you can have an easy way to evangelize. Like you might have a really busy life, but if we can do it with our busy life with 4 children and what we've been going through, you can do it. And you can put, like
everybody
we said,
gets fuel, and you got to stand there for a second.
Yeah.
Just pop it on the.
And you can put your contact info, or don't. They can yell at us on the on the thing,
really,
or their lives might be changed. All it takes is a seed, and that's the whole reason we did our Sabbath signs all over the country, because especially around Lake Michigan, we did the whole circle tour and put 50 of them out around the whole lake when we were traveling. And over a year later, we were.
I thought that one was almost 2 years.
Was it 2 years?
Yeah, because there was the one in Arkansas was over a year.
Oh yeah,
but that
it's
one
almost
was
2
like
years.
so much
At
more
least
shocking.
one of them was up, and that's one of the busiest roads in all of the entire country, where thousands of people. So that means that sign got thousands of views every single day for over 2 years, and it just takes a seed. It doesn't have to be the whole Bible that they're reading, just one little seed that makes them curious, and
or
that's
plants
what these
a seed
are.
for another time. But we were already traveling around doing like the homeless ministry stuff, so what is it to stop and put a sign while you're traveling? And that's why we're like, well, we can make smaller versions for people that don't have time to go place signs. If you're standing there getting fuel, or if you're walking past the pork in the store, warn somebody. Ezekiel 3. Warn the wicked people. So
It makes me really sad thinking about all that.
yeah.
I miss it.
Yeah. That used to be our everyday, all day.
Yeah, and the miracles that we would see every day, just being on the open road, sojourning, and just wherever Yahuwah called us that day, not having our own plans, and the people that He would bring to us. Like, we would have it in our GPS to go somewhere, and we would totally miss the turn. When we're fully paying attention, there's no reason that we would miss it, and we would take a different.
For some
we would take a different exit. Who's standing there? Someone that needs the truth. Someone that's begging for food, clothing, the simple things of life that we have. We had sleeping bags and hot hands and everything on hand. And this time with our new bus, we actually have under storage. So what we are hoping that we can use almost all that for is just pack that stuff full of things for anyone that needs it, and just like open it up. What do you need? And a lot of times we don't give, we rarely ever gave any type of like money to homeless, and we just provided them with like even like fresh food, meals.
And we were denied. Like, people say, oh, I'm really hungry, do you have any money? And I was like, no, but I just made food right here, I was going to eat it, but I'll give it to you. And people are like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, you have to use discernment with what you give, for sure. And we're asking the same thing for you. Use discernment with our situation and see the fruits of our labors and what we're doing, and that we've given up our entire life. We don't really expect anything from anyone, but if the Father moves in your heart, then please do help us and pray for us, especially our son. More than anything right now, we need prayer that he is healed. And one of the things, if you could stand in agreement, we don't got much time left, but we've been praying for the last couple of months that he would say at least one word before new baby gets here. And if it is a boy, which we think it is, we're not sure. I've been wrong before, so don't hold me to that. But if it's a boy, we're going to name him Raphael, which means El, or God. Yahuwah is our healer. He heals. So, and then if it's a girl, we're going to name her Elma, and that means El has heard. So, unless Yahuwah just comes and says, like, don't name your children that, name them this or something. But that's what we're thinking.
It's happened before.
Yeah, not to us, but...
yeah, not to us.
But yeah, just pray for us. Check out our website, www.setapartservants.com. And if you want to go straight to the shop, just do setapartservants.com/shop /shop.
And look at the other stuff on there too.
Yeah, we're working on getting all the articles filled out, but it takes a lot of time to write
and brain power. And when we arrive to the quiet time of night when we can write an article, not much brain power to be had usually. But we want to make a lot more videos kind of like this, talking about, we've got so many stories from when we were full-time on the road that we haven't had the time to share.
Footage.
Yeah, a lot of footage, a lot of stories and stuff, and we might have a good amount of downtime with resting and snuggling a new baby, and maybe we can share some of the stories that we want to share.
Yeah, and
so that's what we want to
only
do.
for like the first month, because then we gotta do the bus. Hopefully Yahuwah provides all the finances we need for that just right when it's time. But we also have a lot of footage from the summer too of us helping widows.
Yeah.
There was some from down south that we time-lapsed different things. We also time-lapsed the entire exterior of
That's
Alex
gonna
doing.
be
That's,
that's gonna be a kind of editing undertaking.
yeah, I know that probably won't.
How was that? Over 150 hours I spent.
180.
180 or something like that.
But anyways, we've just been working for Yahuwah, and we know
And his
that,
children.
and his children, and just pouring our lives out and not seeking after money. And if you want to help us with mammon,
Yeah.
money,
Be able to continue to bless people.
we don't want to have to use that, but it's really not any different that if you were in our town, like giving us diapers or giving us food, groceries, but we're scattered across the country, so we have to use these means, even though we despise it and would rather be in community and trading and doing everything without it. But this is what we've been given, and this is our way to reach out to you, and we just pray that Yahuwah, if it is his will and it is his desire for you to help us, that he would show you and give you a sign, and
Definitely pray about
maybe
it.
even bless you with medicine that could heal an ailment that you've had for years. It's already doing that for us. And also this frankincense oil, it removed a wart on my finger that I had for over a year in one day. So all this stuff is really powerful, and there's more to come. It just takes time to get it out.
I was just gonna say, what is some of the stuff that you're gonna do next?
I'm gonna have a tea blend for multiple sclerosis. I am making a powder blend that you can mix in with water that will coat your stomach lining, which is good for ulcers, Crohn's disease, colitis, IBS, any digestive issues. It can help coat your entire system and give it time to heal and repair itself. And you just take that a couple times a day. I'm not sure about how much I'll sell at a time or how that all will work. I'm going to have some tea blends for internal bleeding. I just got comfrey root for that, which is very well. I know that's controversial, but do your own research. You'll pretty much find with most medicines, they'll tell you, don't take it, it'll kill you, but it'll heal you. The real thing is the pharmakia that kills you and all the side effects. But I'll have that. I also have some friends that I'm researching specific things for that I'm learning about. I'll have tea blends for like cleansing the lungs, for like chronic smoking. I will have a bleed stop powder, emergency stopping bleeding. I'm using some powders that I got that'll be released in the future. Actually, I have all the stuff right now, so I might be able to get to it probably next week because it's prep day tomorrow. We got a lot of work, and so that you just back into emergency like a huge so we got cut off again. My Ford is using my phone and it's doing this weird thing where it's breaking it up into sections. But I was saying that the bleed stop I'll make, it actually can stop bleeding from like gunshot wounds, so it's really powerful stuff. So I'll make that probably next week because tomorrow is prep day and we're just, we got Shabbat and then we still have stuff. We might have a baby tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, it's midnight.
And it's midnight. So, but yeah, I got lots of stuff coming up. I also tooth powders to heal gingivitis. Toothpaste. Anointing oils. We got myrrh here now, and which is actually more expensive than frankincense and is very high quality Somalian. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it right now. So, yeah, this is really good quality myrrh.
So we'll do frankincense and myrrh anointing oil
together. Yeah, and then we'll also just have probably just a pure myrrh healing oil as well. Not sure yet what we're all gonna do, but we got lots of things coming. And if you have any ailments that you've tried other things for, or you want to just have me research and look or make things for you, that's what I want to do. I want to be the most fruitful with the herbs that we've been given and find out what the body of believers needs the most right now. But message me and just be patient because we are about to have a baby, and I'll try to get back to you and try to research your stuff, and lots of medicines to come. I'm not sure if I already said, like, lung clearing things and the did I say the gut lining? Okay. But yeah.
Natural clothing.
Oh, yeah. We also have tons of natural clothing. Please check it out. We've spent hours and hours and hours of hunting linen and wool and cotton, and we have tons in almost every size, especially for children even. I have a natural clothing section for adults, and then a natural clothing section for children, and then everything else that we showed you. And that's a great way to support us and also get something back for you and your family, your home. Oh, I also even have night lights that you can they plug into the wall. They're LED, and they got Yahuwah's name on it, so it lights up.
Right?
Yep, lights up the Father and the Son's name in your home, and a lot of people like to use that for their children's rooms. It helps them feel protected, and more things like that to come, and more medicines. And we just want to help people. We want to give to others, and hopefully, once we get through this season, we won't have to ask for help anymore. But for now, we really need help, and we pray that you would see our hearts, and that everything that we do, like Scripture says, everything that we do flows from our hearts. And out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And we're just trying to be raw and vulnerable and share our lives with you. And maybe someday we'll be in the bus again, and we can come visit you and help you with what you need. Life is just giving and taking and laying down our lives for each other, and that's what we've done in this season to the best of our abilities, is lay our own desires and own needs and own everything down for the people around us that need it. Anything else?
Just pray for Gabriel.
Yeah, pray for Gabriel. Really want to hear him say, I love you. And if you have your own children, don't take that for granted. Think about what it must be like to have a 5-year-old that should have been talking for years and should make eye contact with you and should
be able to tell you when he's thirsty
or hungry
or when he's not thirsty
or needs to go to the bathroom or anything, and just say hi or eat on his own. And we see that with our other 2 children, and it really makes us see what we've missed with him. That was the big shock of our life, seeing Isabella grow up, and we're doing everything we can, especially with learning about natural medicine. And I have a great feeling that Yahuwah is going to heal him, and through his testimony, that's why he has had to suffer the way he has, and we have, because he's going to heal others. He's a little healer too. He's going to have a great testimony, and when he does speak, he's probably going to be prophesying and praising Yahuwah and telling others how to heal their children. Same things.
How many testimonies would you say of using this method of people, of autistic children or even adults, have been healed?
Thousands.
And even like adults, which a lot of people say is not possible.
And the biggest thing is gut health, honestly. Inflammation is the cause of almost every single disease. And that's what we've been learning mostly. Ooh, contraction. Practice one. Yahuwah, let me get some sleep first. But yeah, we love you guys, and thank you for watching. If you watched this far, and check out our website. I don't know if I've said it or not. setapartservants.com /shop if you want to check out the shop. Check out the whole website. We put hundreds of hours of time. Paintings, medicine, cards, jewelry,
articles,
seat, articles,
calendars,
stickers,
downloads page.
Yeah, listening material, music, Torah rap with over
downloads.
150 songs now on there. Scripture downloads for free that
Good
Alex has
study
restored
playlists.
on his own.
Good study playlists for different topics.
Yeah.
Audiobooks.
Lots of stuff and lots more to come, and we just pray that Yahuwah blesses us and works in your hearts to help us if it's His will.
And blesses you.
And blesses you.
And Gabriel.
And Gabriel and Isabel and Eliana and our little baby. We love you guys. Shalom.
Shalom.